on events. If you click on events, it'll drop down. And when it drops down, it should say Shabbat services. Does it say services? Are you on the web page, Dad? Are you on the web page? You're on the web page, right? So if you scroll down, there's a place, remember I showed you where it said Friday night services? Scroll down, there's a little box. It says Friday night services. Good. Find us, Dad? Did you find it yet?
Find what?
Okay, so you're on the CRC webpage, right?
Look, it says March 11th,
Kabbalat Shabbat. That's it.
Yeah.
Click on that.
Click on it.
Click on it.
Okay.
It's live. You should see us.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's 96.
Okay, now we got, let's see, Central Reformed Congregation, Jewish presence in the city of St. Louis, home, now news, events.
So when you clicked on Kabbalat Shabbat service, it didn't work?
Oh my God. Oh, wait a minute, Central Reformed on,
No, but Dad, did you click on that box that said Kabbalat Shabbat?
oh no, I can do that now.
Click on that, Dad. Click on that. That's it. Click on that.
I'm doing that, but
Just be patient. It'll come on. Use the mouse. Oh.
I'm clicking on Kabbalat.
Kabbalat Shabbat.
Yeah.
Okay.
In person, on stream, on Zoom.
Yes. Okay.
It's on stream?
No, live stream. That's what you want. Live stream, not Zoom.
On stream.
Go on live stream.
I just clicked on it.
Good.
Nothing is happening.
Be patient.
In person, on stream, or Zoom?
On stream. On stream.
on that?
Click on stream, yeah. Click on stream. All right, well, I'll have to come and do it for you next week.
All right, honey, listen.
Sorry about that.
I'm having fun. All right?
Try to click on the stream. You know, you remember when you go down, you could also find the YouTube? Forget that. Just click on the stream. Sorry, Dad. Oh, well. We tried. I got to start the service, Dad. All right. Sorry about that, Pop. We'll figure it out for next week, okay? Shabbat Shalom, Dad. Shabbat Shalom.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye. Well, he's 96. We tried.
We're all looking for our new
I know. Oh, well, we tried. He tried so hard. He sat at that computer all day practicing. I don't know how to, I'm not, I don't know myself so much, so. Oh, well. Shabbat Shalom. What? You know, if it's warm next week, I will bring them. If it's warm, thanks. You know, he's right there at the Gatesworth, so thank you. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for showing up on this cold night and in this challenging, broken time where just when you don't think things are going to get worse, they do. And still, we have to figure out how to make Shabbat, because Shabbat is our taste of the world to come, in spite of everything else. And as we said last week, actually, in the Torah portion, it said, why is it that Shabbat, even on Shabbat, you can't do the holy work of building the sanctuary? You'd think that some things you could do on Shabbat. Some things are such holy work that you should be able to do them on Shabbat. But the Torah says those are exactly the things that you have to stop doing, because you can't let your passions overcome you, because then they become obsessions. And once we have obsessions, we don't have balance. And we don't have balance anymore. We'll never renew our souls, right? We become so obsessed with things, we lose perspective. I think that's part of what's happening in the world. There are people who become obsessed. This is the week just before Purim as well. Purim, on the Shabbat before Purim, it's all about Amalek. It's all about quintessential evil, because we're about to meet Haman again. We're about to meet evil for evil's sake, right? And the question is, can people be evil? Or is it this thing that happens to people when they become so much of human doings that they forget that they're human beings? And our passions become obsessions, and they become bigger than we are and allow us to do terrible things to other people. So the Torah comes to teach us how not to let this happen. And so it's good for us to stop, to remember loved ones who have died at this time in years past. It's good to stop, to remember that we're human beings first, not human doings. And it's good to stop, to renew our souls with some song, with some poetry. We have a lot of poetry tonight. And with prayer. You want to read it? Okay. We'll start with a prayer vigil. It begins with the title, How God Created the World, a Vigil. Like an architect checking the drawings, I built it with substance and form. Like a poet, I pored over scrolls until words scampered off the page. Like a designer, I took the supernal forms and built them into my creation. Like a composer, I made a chorus for singing, also something hidden from slogans. I don't know how I created the world. It didn't measure up. There was a pillow of comfort to fall back onto and determination to fix it. Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy's got a whole notebook full of vigil poems. We figured we'd need them tonight. So, Sarah, why don't you come and light the candles for us? What do you say? Do it? You can use the matches.
together. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'adlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. We see the light in each other's eyes. Let's welcome the angels on page 6.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharim, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Borachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech Malachi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzeitechem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Now that the angels have blessed us with a little Shabbos peace, hopefully we feel safe enough to open up and welcome that extra soul that comes on Shabbat. I think I'd like to, in addition, of course, to be praying for the people of the Ukraine, all the people caught in the crossfire of this horrible
moment in human history. I'd also like to say a prayer for those kids in Texas and trans kids everywhere and their parents who are so afraid right now. It seems impossible that we could be doing this to our children, to families. But we're not going to take it lying down. We're going to rise up and fight. As absurd as it is that they would even think of taking away the rights of parents and children to be who they are. We have the ability to help our children be who they are. We have to have the will to not lose it. So let's open ourselves to this extra soul that'll give us the strength for the holy responses that are needed ahead. Yom Zeh, page 7.
יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. ציווית ביגודי במעמד סיני, שבת ומועדים לשמור, בכל שנה אל ארוך לפניי, מעשה שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. חמדת הלבבות לאומה שבורה, לנפשות נכבות נשמה יתרה, מנפש מצרה יסיר הנחה. שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. What's the last verse? What does it start with?
Kiddushta.
Go ahead.
No, you do.
קידשת ברכת אותו מכל ימים, בששת כילית מלאכת עולמי, בו מצאו עגומים בשקט ובטחה.
Shabbat menucha.
יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat shalom. Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, 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 shalom.
Yes. And now we welcome the bride.
Did I ever tell you?
What? What? About being outside of Assisi? With Francesco and Francesca? And we looked out, and she said, you know, sometimes I see him walking in the fields. Could it really be him? And you said,
Speaking of St. Francis,
St. Francis
San Francesco.
and Claire, San Francisco. And you said, yes, of course. Just like we see the Sabbath bride descending on Shabbat, filling the spaces between us with hope, with healing, with possibility, bringing the worlds closer together, this world and that, so that this world could be a little bit more like that world. A world of no pretension, a world where stuff doesn't get in the way, a world that's all about love and soul,
us welcome her, the bride, the queen, we call her. The Kala, Malchut, the inner presence. In the last verse, we bow to her. Do we imagine her?
Yes.
That is always the point. Page
8. Call to your beloveds.
This is her wedding song. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, ishmiyanu el hamichad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, v'shem u'tiferet v'litchila. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nei lecha ki hi b'kor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maseh v'machshava tchila. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orechu miuri, uri, uri, shir dameri, kivod Adonai alayich nira. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובסוף חולה. תוך אמוני הסגולה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. l'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We'll stay standing if you're able so that we can call each other to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu on page 11. Page 15. If only we would listen, if only we would shema, really hear the message of this prayer. No matter how we imagine godliness, as different as we might imagine godliness in all of its forms. Everything really is connected. We are all one. If we hurt another, we should feel that hurt ourselves. Please join us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Continue together on page 16. Prayer that says, love back. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת. Page 18. 18. Hi.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, לא ראיתי לא תוסף אלה, מלאכותיך ובנתך, בוקיים לפני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלינו ויאמרו. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. Jacob and saved him from arms that were stronger than his own. So may you redeem all who are oppressed and persecuted. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Let Miriam, ha-Neviah, the prophetess. She took a drum in her hand and we followed her with drums and dancing, and Miriam chanted with us. Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga, Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga, Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga, Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga, Sus v'rocho ramavayam, Sus v'rocho ramavayam, Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga, Shiru le'Adonai, Ki-ga-o-ga.
Page 20.
Fros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol abo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you who spreads the shelter of peace over us and over everybody. And over Jerusalem, Jerusalem, and over Jerusalem.
Page 21.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש. You know, Susie,
What?
the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat.
Good.
Observing it as a covenant for all time. It is a sign. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days the Eternal One made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day God rested. Vayi nafash, vayi nafash, vayi nafash. God breathed the soul into creation, Susie. God breathed the soul into creation. Vayi nafash.
Vayinafash.
Vayinafash. Vayinafash. Listen to the sounds of our city, Susie. Vayinafash. God breathed the soul into creation.
23, if you're able, we'll rise together and begin the tefillah. Give everyone a chance to go through the prayers that are here or find the prayers in your own hearts. It says, Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagit techilatecha. Please, God, open my lips in the right way, that I may declare your praise and dare to shout out to the heavens what it is we need right now, in this moment. When you're done with your own prayers and the prayers that are here, I'll invite you to be seated, and we will continue with a prayer for peace.
Gather up the brokenness, bring it to me now. The fragrance of those promises you never dared to vow. The splinters that you carried, the cross you left behind. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind. And let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Behold the gates of mercy in arbitrary space. None of us deserving the cruelty or the grace. The solitude of longing where love has been been confined. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind. Oh, see the darkness yielding, that tore the light apart. Come healing of the reason, come healing of the heart. Let the heavens falter, let the earth proclaim. Come healing of the altar, come healing of the name. And let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Oh, let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb.
Perfect prayer for right now. Oh, what do you want me to do? Amalek? What do you want? Which one? The whole page. Another vigil prayer. When the upper root and the lower root find each other, they meet at the inner point of truth. Yes, this is it. The inner point of truth will open onto everything, and it will be a secret, gracious wisdom. Yes, this is it. The inner point of truth will lift us into everything, within and around a seamless version of the whole, and every individual will be known as a version of God. Yes, this is it. Of course I'll bring the prayer, I said. I was thinking of her and what she must bring to all the prayers. The first word of the prayer is in the Jessive mood, I told her. May God bless, etc. The Jessive has a gentler urgency than imperative. I was beginning to feel boring, didactic. I love the Jessive in other languages. In English, it is treacly, but in ancient languages, it has a sense of coaxing for what we are asking for, rolling off the imperative. Come on, bring it, please, she said. She's a survivor of Auschwitz. So as we mentioned, it is Shabbat Zachor. On Shabbat Zachor in the morning we read the Maftir. Remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt. How undeterred by fear of God, Amalek, evil, surprised you on the march when you were starving and weary, and he cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when God grants you safety from all your enemies around you in the land that is your God, that your God is giving you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. So we are commanded to blot out Amalek, a genocide, to kill all the Amalekites. And when we hear these words condemning Amalek, I imagine to some they sound awful. In fact, the Interpreter's Bible suggests that here we have just another example of Israelite nationalism. Moses was mad at the Amalekites from the time of the Exodus and wants to make sure that revenge will be taken when we are in the land. Read this way, the call to wipe out a whole nation, genocide,
hardly seems like a teaching we Jews would want to lift up and repeat again and again. Destroy the destroyer. Where is the compassion, the forgiveness, you might ask? Wasn't the point of leaving Egypt to create a whole new paradigm that would not be based on masters and slaves or doing to others what was done to us? 36 times in the Torah, we are told to love the stranger because we know the heart of the stranger. But of Amalek, it says, Milchama ladonai bi-Amalek midor lador. God will have war with Amalek in every generation. There is so much love for the stranger. Where is the love for Amalek? We add these verses to our cyclical Torah readings this week on the Shabbat before Purim each year. We call it Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of remembering. But what is the connection between Amalek, the Torah's symbol of pure evil, and Purim? On the simplest levels, the answer is Haman, the villain of the book of Esther. For Haman is a descendant of Amalek. And just as Amalek answers the question of the presence of evil for generations of the Exodus, so Haman teaches us that this evil is present in every generation. We certainly feel it now. The few verses in Deuteronomy that recall the awful slaughter of the innocents and the most vulnerable in Exodus present the paradox. We are commanded to both blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven, at the same time never to forget it. But when we look at this text through our lens, we do not see a particular nationalist teaching at all. No, we see a universal teaching that demands that we look into the face of evil and ask, what was Amalek's sin? It says in the Torah, he feared not God. And the commentary says that this expression is used 4 times in the Torah in connection with non-Jews and the criterion of God-fearingness that is always measured by the attitude of the subject to the weak and the stranger. Where the fear of God is lacking, the stranger, the most vulnerable, are likely to be murdered. But remember the midwives of Egypt, of the Exodus of Egypt? They did fear God and refused the royal command to slay the children of the strangers. We are commanded to blot out the memory of Amalek because Amalek is not a people. Amalek is not a person. Amalek is the archetype of the aggressor who murders the weak, the civilians, the defenseless, the kindergarten, the maternity hospital, and there is one in every generation. If we are to know shalom, if we are to know wholeness and peace, every act of violence, from capital punishment to terrorism to war, must stand before the test of Amalek. The 11th century commentator Rashi says that all the nations had dread and awe, but along came Amalek to show the way to others like a bath of boiling water, which no creature can get into. And then comes along a fool who jumps into it, and though he gets scalded, he has cooled it down for others. Amalek lowers the bar and returns the world to idols of gold, mortal power, and the use of violence in every generation. This is the threat. This is the deeper connection of Amalek to Purim. Purim is the ultimate teaching of what is God and what is not God. For on Purim, we make fun of everything. We dress up. We tell the ridiculous story of how a Jewish beauty queen can save the day. We get so drunk we can't tell the difference between Haman, evil, and Mordechai, good and evil. And we remember that if we can hold it in our hands, if we can name it, if we can know it, it cannot be God. The book of Esther doesn't even mention God. Why? Does this make it a less holy book? No. The rabbis say it is more holy because the secret is once you name God, you limit what cannot be limited in love, in compassion, in justice, in beauty, and in grace. In fact, Jewish tradition teaches that once the Messianic age dawns, the only holy day we will still have is Purim. Why? Because in every generation, we have to remember to blot out Amalek, to blot out this kind of evil, and we must not forget. So there are a few things that we can do. We're going to put these on our website, and I know Autumn is working hard to make sure that every time something comes across our desks to be able to help the people of the Ukraine. Here are a few more things that we can do, and again, these will be on our website. Certainly, our own Jewish Federation has many opportunities to donate, and also there's going to be, I think, a teaching next week. Those are on our website. My favorite organization to give to right now is HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. They are on the front line, as they've always been on the front line, for aiding refugees, immigrants, here and there. And on our website, there will also be a list from our partners at HIAS of hands-on ways that we can help. We can also ask the Biden administration to keep Ukrainian families together. Ukrainian refugees should be able to reunite with family in the United States rather than wait in limbo with temporary protection in Europe. Now is the time to live up to our value of welcoming people in their moment of need, as we're trying to do so desperately with the Afghan refugees, the families, our own family that we have adopted here at CRC. We must also do the same for the Ukrainians now. It's all up to us to learn more about the region. You know, for many Jews who come from Eastern Europe, these names are names we know. The great rabbi of Chernobyl, Kiev, you know, if you know anything, if you've ever heard any of Shalom Aleichem stories, Fiddler on the Roof, you know about Kiev, you know about Lvov, you know about these cities. These cities are Odessa. These are places that our people, the ones that come from Eastern Europe, have such roots. And so there are prayers. And so there are books that we'll put on, again, on our website that we can read to really understand more about what's happening in the region. One that I recommend is Masha Gessen's The Man Without a Face. She's a Jewish woman that belongs to a congregation in CBSD, I think, in New York. And it comes from that region. Also, there are prayers. You know, there's a prayer written by Rabbi Nachman, who came from the region that is now part of Ukraine. Again, these are things that you can find on our website that we'll share. And I'm going to offer one more vigil prayer for peace, maybe. Oh, I guess we have one. You want to read? Okay. Which one? So, and in our prayer for healing, we're also going to add, of course, all of the people of the Ukraine. I know, you know, Larry, we share grandchildren in kindergarten. I see their faces every Monday morning. They are amazing. And when I saw that they bombed a kindergarten, you know, I saw the faces of our grandchildren look up at me every Monday morning and wait for a story. They're our future. Those children are our future. We have to figure out a way to do more, to do better. So how about while he's looking, we'll offer a Mishaberach, a healing prayer. Let me read some of the names of the people. Should we do this one first? Oh, here's war crimes, and then we'll do a Mishaberach. War crimes. It's pleonastic. Dr. L. dripping syllables. It's war, and war is criminal. Turn off the TV, turn on the TV. See figure and ground in the field, a child died. dehydration. Today, a children's and maternity hospital bombed. We watch crime on television. This is what we see before we go to sleep at night. Horror show playing daily on flat screens, please. Parliament asks no-fly zone. Send help. Now attacking hospitals, we have seen this before. Wheat fields of Europe saturated, crying graves, the dead of generations spilt ground. We have seen enough. We watch borders and borderlessness. The worst is always yet. Watch and wait. It seems impossible. Everything can be lost in the waiting. The argument, we lose more in action. Close the skies. Close the skies, they are saying, pointing toward heaven. Close the skies. We're praying for the people of the Ukraine. We're also praying for the Russian people who are caught in the crossfires and are being arrested daily and have family in the Ukraine. We're praying for all of the people of Eastern Europe who are afraid, especially for the children caught in the crossfire of Amalek and Aid. We're also praying for my friend Teresa, who got COVID and now is dealing with her heart. Teresa, if you're watching, I am sending you. You are an angel. I know how you take care of your mother-in-law, Lois, and we love you. And if you're listening, this healing prayer is also for you. For Gail Rock and Suzanne Schroeder and Meredith Berkowitz and Sherry Hugler O'Donnell and Kay Wolpert and Eileen Ehrlich. Sylvia Ginsparg and Mary Lou Bollinger and Betty Renee Marver and Gabriel Adams and Sammy Schoss, Margie Katz, Paul Hershkowitz's granddaughter Paige, Ruth Groff, Michael Ramelt, Barbara Woodruff, Tammy Holland, Bob Fox, Bracha Zelda Bat, Rachel Golda, Miriam Fields, Will Struck, Michael and Kathy Davenport, Marcia Marsh, Vara Kropp, Joan Butcher, Marvin Crane, Bear Robinson, Walter Lazenby, Jim Cohen, Richard McPherson, Jennifer Gibson, Janet Cunningham, Simon Ramoser Clonch, Linda Maniaci, Hannah Kayla Batsaralea, Angela McCurry, Alan Snyder, and also for Florine, my good friend Florine Zimmerman, who I went to see today. And are there other names? For Jim Bacok?
We have prayers for Jim Bocock, Cheryl Grossman, Ann Mays, Bill, and Storm.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Autumn, and thank you for sending those names. We hold them all in our hearts. Are there any names here that we should add? And I want to pray for those trans kids who are being abused by the legislatures, being abused by ignorance and systems of oppression in this country. They should be able to be who they want to be, and their parents should be able to help them without fear. So for this broken country, we can do better. No fly zone. Protect us. Bring the worlds closer together, not farther apart.
Refuat הנפש ורפואת הגוף. רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. For the healing of the spirit, for the healing of the body, for those we know, for those we don't know. On my right, the angel Michael, on my left, the angel Gabriel. In front of me, the angel Uriel, 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 Uriel. Behind me, Raphael. And above my head, above my head, above my head, Shekhinah. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim, blessed are you, great healer. Amen. Amen.
Thanks, Jimmy. And if you're able, we rise and face east towards Jerusalem. But we know the world is round, so our prayers, may they reach all of the people to let them know we are holding them in our hearts and praying for peace. Aleinu l'shameach Adon hakol,
Take to the loud and say, Bereshit.
shelo asanu k'gorei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chokenu k'chem, v'gor aleinu k'chol amona,
אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. מים וכבשת אורץ, ומושב יקרו לשמיים וימעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. I also want to send out healing prayers to our friend Rick Iserman. I don't know if Rick is watching, if he's with us, but Rick, we've got to get you on our list, so I remember to say that everybody says that your name. We pray for you every morning in our home and in our hearts too. And so now we turn to those who have died at this time in years past and those who have died this year. It's hard not to start with, of course, the terrible deaths that are happening across the world in the Ukraine. But also locally, I'd like to remember Cora Faith Walker, 37 years old. And just the person we need at this time. She had a master's in public health from WashU, the first class of their public health school. She's an attorney in public policy and public health from SLU, was a state senator, and worked in our county, seat here with our executive, Sam Page. And we needed her. She had a lot of years left to serve, and she was really a servant. And I think I saw Denise Lieberman is on, and Denise, I know you were probably good friends with Cora. Oh, beautiful, beautiful young woman. And a tremendous loss for our city and our region, our state. And every world, every life, a whole world, each one of our children that we've lost, a whole world. And so if there are those of you who have come to say Kaddish here, we'll ask you to stand first and say the names of the people that you have come to remember. I'll start with my friend Jerry. May his memory be for a blessing. Thank you.
Marianne,
Thank you for remembering her with us. Larry,
Father-in-law, George Sergeant Monroe Zimmerman.
may his memory be a blessing. Thank you.
Still very fresh. My cousin David Burble and another member of the family, Nicole Stone.
May their memories.
February 2
Oh, gee, so fresh. May their memories be a blessing. You know, all we can do is a day at a time, right? And what we've learned is that the hurt doesn't ever go away. But somehow, sometimes, Jimmy says, the edges soften. And I'm waiting for that. I wait for it. Every day, I'm waiting for the edges to soften a bit. Make room for something more. Sarah? For your mama, thank you. For Shirley, thank you. Walt. And her brother, Walt, right. Thank you. Their brother, right? His brother, thank you. Marla? Thank you, dear. Thank you for remembering him with us. I remember when he was here. It's just a happy spirit. Let's stand together with our mourners to let them know they do not stand alone, as we also remember Gary Rikus and Joan Klein and Michael Kiernan, died this year, Father Robert Johnston and St. Clair Booker, Orietta Cohn and Dan Sokol and Deborah Hill and Dr. Erica Gartner and Herbert Fagan and Gail Hollyfeld and Alex Hochberg, Ethan Gonzalez and Raphael Berger and Marie Elaine Nicholson and Tucker Wright and Ed Lander and Tyler Shemwell and Joanne Creedon and Andy Neiman and Gerald Chervitz and Bobby Morell and Judge Roberta Hitt and Andrew Rockman, Gary Winnicky and Matt Friedman, we said, Eric Burrell, Janice Marks, of course, Karen Margot, Art Peters, Suzanne Cooperman Gill, Joan Zucker, Allison and Josie Abitz, Bernard Davids, Carol Fleischer, Linda Holtzman, Frank Backleman, Judy Hunter, Beatrice Daniels, Sam Nussbaum, Kyle Courier, Adam Meany, Barrett Braun, John Prolutsky, Shirley Berman, Emma Sue Coney, Pat Denlow, Nina Levine, Ruth Gustorf, Charles Fremder, Robert William Pierce, Constance McNeil, Michael Huxley, Ann Wooten, Dr. Stan Frager, David Spira, Susan Carlson, Mert Arnowitz, Woolman, Dr. Paige Powers, Selena Green, Arthur Lash, Babette Spiro Young, Dorothy Silverberg, Richard Bushman, Shirley Patricia, we said, Eileen Siegel, Aubrey Yowitz, Phyllis Leventhal, Hermine Mimi Jacobs Davison. It's the yard site of Estelle Friedman and Lenny Schneitman, Lorraine DePlacido, John Donahue, Martin Fishbein, Pat Gorchef, Bernie, we said Bernie Hockman. A long line of people that remember him with you, Jerry, here. Heather, from generation to generation, Heather Johnson, Michael Kerman, Jack Keston, Sandra Krause, Dolly Schulman, Fran Sontag Thompson, Lola Cohen, Harold Eisenberg, Catherine Harris, Ralph Kalish, Howard Cohn, Thomas Malloy, Neil Novak, Molly Pierce, Albert Popham, Esther Riddell, William Sentnor, Monroe Zimmerman, that was who you said, Kadishwar, David Millstone, Catherine Phone, Joe Saxon, Jean Weniker Schneider, Jesse Shapiro, Herb Sewell, Ida Engelhart, Tessie Carfeld, Leona Kanapka, Ruth Scammon, Hannah Skrenka, Oscar Stevenson, Ann Erke, Dorothy Goldman, Todd Cronemer, Leon Mordick, Walter Skrenka, Judith Tippett, Sam Weintraub, Jordan Zoll, baby, that was a baby daughter, Dave Graber, Winnie Littman, Dan McLaughlin. Are there any other names, Autumn?
Yes, we have Dr. Francois Charles, Nancy Sachs, the mother of Vince Casagrova, the yard site of Walter Blazer. Gail Wexler is remembering her grandmother Molly Blazer. Rudy Polito's son Scott. Alan Oglander. Gio Obata. And lots of folks remembering Cora Faith Walker.
Thank you. Why do we take time to read all the names? Because every one is a whole world, and some of them are only remembered by us. I'm not sure anyone else, says Kaddish for Judy Tippett or Albert Popham. That we hold them here with us. Yeah, thank you. So let's say these words together, words that connect once again, the heavens and the earth. We say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'almad yivrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayerachol be'Yisrael. Ba'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'et hadar, v'et talei, v'et talel, shmei dekudisha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirota, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Usei shalom b'rumav, uya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen.
Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, ve'imru,
Lots of wonderful things going on. CRC is cooking Hamantaschen on Zoom on Sunday. How could you miss that, right? Lots of Purim stuff coming up. I think the Purim Carnival for the little kids is this Sunday as well, right here, in person after 2 years. And then Wednesday evening, there'll be a Purim Spiel streamed and on Zoom at 8 o'clock for Purim. Wednesday night, the full moon of Adar 2. You can't miss Purim, even if we don't feel like it, we got to do Purim. And as always, we have our No Shanda, No Shame group for people living with mental illness every Sunday at 1 o'clock on Zoom. You can find all of these things on our website. So let's give each other a blessing and then just do our best to share that blessing with all the people whose lives we touch.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. When the upper worlds and the lower worlds find each other, it will be a secret, generous wisdom. And every individual will feel like a version of God. Ken yehi ratzon.
Ken yehi ratzon. Let this be God's will. Thanks for showing up here. Thanks for showing up from your homes. We'll keep the prayers for peace going.
Keep the faith.
And we'll keep the faith. We'll keep the faith. And
I don't know when, but one of these days we're going to have an oneg again. And we'll be able to eat together and schmooze. And see each other's smiles in person. Me too. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have a Shabbat of peace.